Howdy folks, Charlie here from Christmas on Crestline. Thank you for tuning in. And thank you for tuning in to a tips and tricks episode. For years, I've been hanging Christmas lights over a decade now, and I got tired this last season. I got tired of being in one tree for 5 days. Instead of hanging the red lights, then the blue lights, then the green lights, then the white lights, then my strobes and dripping tubes. 5 days I'd be in one tree, and it just needed to stop. So I came up with a neat trick on how to both store my lights and how to hang my lights, where I go from 5 days to a day and a half. I cut out 3.5 days for one prop. What's the secret trick? Let me show you. Stay tuned to the end of the video. Got a couple cool shout outs today of folks who have sent us their submissions for their Valentine's Day decoration. Especially one person who handcrafted something I've never seen before. I bet you haven't either. Stay tuned to the end of the video to see what I'm talking about. If this is your first time watching Christmas on Crestline, subscribe, hit that notification bell. We are still the only weekly Christmas show in the world. That's it. You search anywhere on YouTube. We're the only weekly show that teaches you how to do an animated Christmas light show, tips and tricks. We interview industry insiders. Subscribe, hit that notification bell, because Christmas in July extravaganza is getting ready to come around. 15 episodes in 30 days. We got some neat guests already lined up for this year's extravaganza. Tune in, folks. Hit that subscribe button, because you're going to want to know what we got going on. So what is this super secret trick that I have going on? Well, for years, and I'll leave a link to the video up here. I think we just crossed 100,000 views on the video on how to hang Christmas lights in trees, and you'll see in that video I spent a day hanging blues, a day hanging greens, a day hanging reds, a day hanging whites, and a day hanging strobes and dripping tubes. 5 days, one tree. I just got tired of spending 5 days on it, and I wanted to come up with a different way on how I can store my lights that will allow me to hang lights in a much better way. And this is what I've come up with: braiding. Folks, I'll leave a link here to my braiding video. What I did is I combined my RGBs, my reds, my greens, and my blues into one single string. There's a couple different ways to do that. The easiest way is a drill and an Allen wrench. Check out that video. It's super simple, super easy. But storing your lights, how am I doing that? The next step is super simple. Take the male ends of your 3 strings, plug them all in, make them nice and taut, simply by walking forward. Making these 3 strings into one will really help you out. Now, you go to the braiding episode. I'll show you how to braid in that episode. You can braid these, and the great thing about braiding lights the way I do, if there's a light that goes out, say I have half my reds go out, but it's braided, and I need to fix my red lights, so I have to unbraid it. It takes about 15 seconds to unbraid the lights the way I do it using my method. So check out that video. It's going to save you a ton of time. Now we're going to put them in a spool, but because I want to be able to test the lights immediately before I unravel them, you always spool up lights with the female end first. Don't be worried at all if you have one end that is longer than the others. Although these are all 16.6 feet long, they are stretched a little bit differently. So don't worry if one is a little bit longer than the other. Now, because I already have so many episodes about braiding, I'm not going to show you how to braid today. But here I have a spool of RGB, red, green, blue lights that are ready to go, ready to be hung. I have the male end exposed, so I can prop this right on in to make sure they're all working prior to unspooling them when it comes time to hang them. And this spool has an insert, so I can just insert the male ends right into there to keep it nice and taut, not going to go anywhere. But this is the change I've done to hanging my lights and to installing my lights. But today, for right now, for storing my lights, these will simply go down in a tote. I got them all nice, stacked up nice and neat. Everyone's braided except for this one. That's just because we're doing it just for this one episode. So what's the advantage of storing lights using this method? Well, the huge advantage is when you go to install it the next season. I got all the males right here exposed. I don't have to unravel it. It's already right there. I put those on the back side where I'm going to be plugging them into. Then bam, just like that, I have 300 lights installed in a mere matter of seconds. Old days, I'd done one at a time. I'd be spinning and sick right now because going around the tree kind of makes you a little bit dizzy. But instead of doing that 3 times, I only had to do it once. Next comes the huge advantage of easily winding them up for storage. And boom, just like that, they're stored and ready to be installed. If you have any tips or tricks on things you do to save yourself time later, let us know down in the comments below what is your best time-saving trick. Now you'll notice I can only get 300 lights on here. The spool is actually designed for 200. We're to use 3 today. However, whatever spool you use to store your Christmas lights and to hang your Christmas lights, I do recommend that you use a spool of some sort. There's also the wrap and store container, which is a triangle shaped container, but this allows you to go around trees and branches with one hand rather than to worry about holding on to all 3 for installation. And again, this tip and trick saved me 3.5 days in a tree that for a decade took me 5 days, went down to a day and a half. Loved everything about it. I had an extra 72 hours to hang lights in different locations. So this year's installation process went much more smoothly than any other year previous. If you are not a Patreon supporter of us, check us out now on patreon.com/Christmas on Crestline, or just go to patreon.com and type in Christmas on Crestline. The voting is still open for Patreon members only to vote on the winner of this year's Fan Appreciation Award. We got a great trophy. The Patreon viewers have already seen the trophy. If you want to have a voting say and to get a preview of all the shows that we have going for this year's award, join Patreon right now and you can see that Patreon only content, as well as we do behind the scenes every week. No big deal, it's always fun. We're building, we're growing. Join us on Patreon. If you like our Christmas math, check out our Teespring page. The link is down in the video's description below. You can Christmas math, you can get nice little hats, you get shirts, all sorts of neat stuff, cups, coffee mugs, shorts, shirts, you name it, it's in there. Check out our Teespring page and help support the show. Shout outs. Shout out to Scott P. Scott P sent us in this photo of his Valentine's Day display. Scott P uses those Nova Stella floodlights. If you want those same floodlights, got a link down in the video's description below. But Scott P always does something different, and he does something for every single holiday. How cool is that? And if you have a submission of a holiday that you've displayed, send it to us at christmasoncrestline@gmail.com. We will get that into a future video. Next up is Postal Chick. Postal Chick is a new-ish fan to our show and has sent us in these submissions of her kissing booth. That's right, she handmade this kissing booth out of styrofoam, folks. How awesome is that? She goes big for holidays. She's a very handy gal and does all of her own props, makes them all. Now, a big shout out actually to Postal Chick. If you have a submission you want to send us, send it to us at christmasoncrestline@gmail.com. That's about it for me today. I'm Charlie. I'll see you in the next video.